I'm here with Barrett Stevens, which is this beautiful guy. Barrett Stevens does bass tech for
John Moyer.
For
Disturbed.
Yeah! Let's go. Is it the only one you work with?
No, I have a long history.
Okay.
Actually, my first gig was George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic.
Okay, so right now, is this the only current one you do?
This is the only current one I use.
Perfect. Where are you from?
I live in Lambertville, New Jersey.
Okay. What got you into this world?
Accident, maybe?
Yeah?
I wanted to make sure that music, I was close enough to the music, but not the star. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to be all the way up to the portion of the creation of the music, but not have to be the rock star, you know?
That's so weird, because everybody wants to be there. You're like, I don't want that. I'll be close, but...
No. Well, I learned as a kid that the bigger you get, the smaller your box gets. So the more successful you get, then the smaller your world gets, because you can no longer go to the grocery store, you know, go do random things that normal people can do. And, you know, because you're well known, you know. So when you get to the point of actually making a living, doing what you love, you know, you're refined to a hotel room, a tour bus, a dressing room.
When did you realize this?
Like 15, 16.
You realized it at 15?
Yeah. I mean,
that's very mature of you to realize that at such a young age, because most people want to be that. And even nowadays, it's like, I want to be the YouTuber, I want to be famous, I want to be a musician. I mean...
I like to hide in the shadows.
You're one of the introverts, aren't you? You're an introvert.
No, I'm very much an extrovert.
Really?
Yeah, I like social, I like being social, I like all the things, but I don't like all the other bullshit that comes with it.
That's so wicked smart of you. I'm sorry. That's like,
so now,
at 15 years old, you realize that like the bigger you get, the smaller your box gets.
Yeah, and I figured out that you can make a hell of a living doing this. The farther you went up the chain, you made roughly the same amount of money.
Huh.
As you know, I mean, like these guys, of course, make way more.
Sure. I mean, eventually
the scale tips the other way, but you give up so much of your life.
Yeah. What's the
not
sacrifice
being able to do all this other stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So really, what are you trading? What's the trade-off?
Okay, so you realize that. What happened next?
Well, I started with a little tiny band in a little place called John and Peters in New Hope, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And the guy that was the bass player taught me how to play guitar. He got some fun idea that he's going to get some kid, me, to come and set up their stuff. Well, you know, they played the last Saturday of every month at the bar, and I would go and set up their stuff. Mike Hampton and Bernie Worrell from Parliament Funkadelic would come and sit in with them. And, when Mike figured out there was a kid setting up things that he didn't have to do, he was like, come here. He showed me my craft and how to be a guitar tech as a kid. And then, fast forward, I was in recording school and whatever, and Mike gave me a call and goes, hey, I hate our guitar tech. Would you please come work for us? And I was like, come work for you? Cool. Whatever. So I hopped out of recording school and went straight on tour with George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic. But there was a caveat, because since Mike Hampton hired me, I was not hired by the tour. So I then had to drive a vehicle behind the bus.
No, you didn't.
And I did for 2.5 weeks. I drove a car for 2.5 weeks.
No, you didn't.
Behind the bus. And when we got back to Philly, George goes, hey, you're close enough to home. We thought this was going to be a gimmick. You know, like you were going to do a couple of shows and forget about this. I'm not doing this. But you won't go away. So put your keys in the car somewhere where someone can come and get the car or whatever, or go home. So I put the keys in the gas tank thing, called a friend and said, hey, come get this car. It's in this garage in this spot. And I got on the tour bus and that was it.
Wow.
So that was almost 25 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah.
So after that band, what happened?
In the middle of it, I worked for this band.
Okay.
So like 2007-ish, late 2006, 2007, I started with Disturbed. But I was going back and forth from Disturbed and P-Funk.
That was almost 20 years ago.
It was, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we did. I finished the 10,000 Fist run with them, and then they went on hiatus essentially to record the Indestructible record.
Yeah.
Where I was involved with the bass tech and the guitar tech stuff for the Indestructible record in Chicago. And then I did the Mayhem Fest and the introductory tour for the Indestructible record, and then we cut ways, and I cut my ties with Parliament Funkadelic as well. Later on, I went to work for the Scissor Sisters.
Okay.
After the Scissor Sisters, I went to Ace Frehley, where I did both Ace and the rest of the band. And then from after that, I went to Ministry. I did Ministry for a little while. And after that, I needed a break.
Okay.
So I stopped doing major touring. I still did side projects and things like that. So I did some side projects for Bernie Worrell, so Social Librium, working with Melvin Gibbs and that expansive Bernie's projects. And then I worked for John Moyer's projects as well. So I did like Dark Sky Choir and the one he did with oh man, those guys are gonna kill me that I can't remember the name of that. Art of Anarchy. So I worked on those two. And in 2022, John called me and goes, "Hey, I know you don't really do big tours anymore, but we don't have anybody because it's right after 2020, like 60% of this working staff just said, no way. I learned how to, make the same amount of money at home that I did on the road. I'm not going out there. No way." So John called me and goes, "Hey, I know you don't do big stuff anymore, but would you do summer festivals with us?" And I was like, "Oh, a couple of days a month. That sounds like fun. Yeah, I could do that." And what wound up happening was, at the last one, the production manager and the tour manager cornered me in the dressing room.
No.
Two big guys. What did I do? And they're like, "You're coming back next year, right?" And here I am again, big touring, same old, away from home,
Okay,
away from the family, those kind of things.
From somebody who's been in the industry and been doing this for that many years, what's the key to success for maintaining this and doing this? I know it's kind of a loaded question, but in terms of
there's a few simplistic answers to that.
Okay.
High levels of efficiency. You can set yourself up with efficiency in a way that it's almost impossible to fail. So if you design your show in a way mentally where you just go next, kind of thing, and you map it for yourself, you can't fail. So your efficiency, high levels of efficiencies, make it so much easier for you not to make mistakes. And making mistakes, when you make mistakes in this world, that's when things that can go way off the rails. Little mistakes, little tuning issues and things like that aren't as big a deal, but handing someone the wrong guitar or wrong bass, or handing someone the wrong instrument, or a tuning that's off, those kind of things can lead to catastrophic situations. Other situations like, I'm having a wireless problem, but my backup's on the same channel. That's not going to work out. So if you're smart about the way you design your show, it'll make it so much easier for them. Because the guide for us is to make it easy for them. So if you can make sure that you make it easy for them, it's going to be a lot easier for you.
In terms of touring, especially since you did it for so long and then you left and now you're back, if you could give yourself some advice beforehand when you first started that'd help, or maybe some people who want to get on the road, what are some things that you need to keep grounded, to keep successful without going into the craziness of all that touring life, or given to substance abuses like I did before?
It's more or less just pay attention to the people around you. Understand that you're never going to know everything when you show up. You're always going to learn something from everyone around you, whether it's lighting, audio, somebody on the tour is always going to teach you something new. As long as you're a succubus for all the information that you can have, you'll learn so much more about, the tour. I also would want you to know that be ready to not have a girlfriend, miss weddings, funerals, all family events. Be ready to not see any of that. You're in a situation where you are on call. If you're not dead, you're working. And that's how this business goes. And the second that you drop your stuff for one second to go and do something,
out of sight,
somebody
out of
else
mind.
is in your line.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that you stay right on top of your thing. So there's no, hey, I'm sick today kind of thing. You're here, you go.
What was the turning point for you
What do you mean?
to not want to be on tour anymore? What was the point where you're like, I can't?
I had been on the road for, 16 years in a row. And I realized that my only friends were my friends that I had on my current tour. And because, you become friends with all these family, all these guys, and your family for the extent of the tour you're on.
Yeah.
And when you get to the next tour, you have a whole new family, and you keep in touch with a handful, your backline techs or people that you met, but you get a whole new family. And I would come home, for a week or two at a time and just have nothing. I had my apartment, but it felt empty. There was no home there. So I stopped for a bit, found a place that I wanted to make my home. Between Lambertville and New Hope, that's literally the best place that I could ever be, So I found that to be my home, stayed there for a while, made a lot of friends, have a family. So when I go home, I have family and friends to go home to. It's a double-edged sword, though, because I have to leave them now when I come back out on the road.
You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. What was the biggest mistake you made, and what did you learn from that?
I don't know if there's a biggest mistake.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of little mistakes that happen along the way. I don't think that there's ever necessarily a massive mistake. Unless you do something really stupid,
Yeah.
you're not, there's never really a massive mistake. I think there's a lot of, small mistakes, not paying attention, not understanding who's around you, not understanding the other entities that are around you, and not really getting the real idea of what this is about. This is a very corporate atmosphere, even though it's a rock show, We're surrounded by people. You have to make sure that you are on your P's and Q's and that you speak clearly, and know that if you're joking, that the people around you know you're joking. And know that if you may say a joke that someone may not like, you get offended, you're fired. You have to understand that we're in a situation these days where it's not like it was in the old days. It's not party, rock and roll, and whatever. We're here to work. We're here to, essentially make a living. So are they. Anything that you do that directly affects the band, bye. So like a bunch of little, not necessarily mistakes, but hiccups, all these things limit your next exposure. Limit whether or not you get either asked back, whether you get recommended for another gig. Because people go, oh, he's a great tech, but he drinks a lot, so I can't really recommend him. So you have to be very careful about how how you're perceived by the rest of your crew members.
Advice for somebody who wants to maybe get in this industry?
Well, if you want to get in, I don't know, because I came from essentially homegrown, sort of. I don't know how you would go about your direct kind of experience. I know that probably the best thing that I could tell someone to do is join your local. Join a local staff. If you're not in a position to join a local staff, join like a staging company or a backline company, something that gets your hands dirty with this. Learning how to work on a guitar at home is kind of irrelevant because the system never changes. Your guitar, unless you decide to just like, hey, I'm going to put it out in the snow for a minute and then bring it back in. You're never really going to understand what we actually deal with. Yeah. It's coming out of a minus 20-degree truck or a 100-degree truck and coming into 70 degrees. You never understand how much it all changes until you have to deal with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a hard gig. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's a fun gig, but it's a very hard gig.
Let's can we walk through some of the stuff, some of your some of your equipment, like for your work box? What do you got here? What are your top tools that you need and absolutely have to have?
So the only things that I would say that I really ever have to have is number one is a Peterson tuner. I absolutely have to have a Peterson tuner. It's just a Peterson strobe tuner. They don't make this particular model anymore. That's how long I've been doing this. But Peterson tuners are by far the best. And then after that, it's like minuscule things. It's like a handful of Allen keys. I can do an entire show with a tuner, a handful of Allen keys, and some wire clippers. That's really all I need. Now little bumps and pieces and like a couple of screwdrivers and that kind of thing. Yeah. I've kind of fine-tuned it to the point where I don't need a 900-pound toolbox. Yeah. With the door that flips open and whatever. This folds up and I take it home. And I take it home and I work on my gear when I get home, and then when I come back or go to the next place, I just bring it back.
Favorite bass strings?
I think favorite strings in general, from guitar and bass. Okay. I like Diodario strings. Okay. I like them. They're bright. They last forever. But if you're gonna get them, get the expensive ones. Okay. Don't cheap out on strings. Strings are it's kind of like buying tires for your car. It's the thing that makes it go. So don't cheap out on those things. So someone's getting a brand new bass and they're not really sure where to go with strings. What's your advice to someone like, there's so many options? There's so many options out there. For John stuff, we use GHS. Okay. And I enjoy their strings as well. I don't think there's really a bad string at this point. Okay. It's kind of like... Sure. It's kind of like... it's kind of like when someone asks me about guitar pickups. There's so many of them now. Yeah. And it's kind of about taste. And instruments are the same. It's kind of about your taste. Because it's whatever you think makes you feel good or play better, that's what you should use. It's irrelevant about what the name is, whether it's a Gibson or an Epiphone, or if it's a Fender or you got a Schecter. It doesn't really matter. It's just whatever makes you comfortable enough to let that go. And if you think you sound good, go ahead. It's all about taste. Just that our technology is so far surpassed what it used to be. Yeah. That it doesn't matter anymore. Can we walk through some of his setup and some of the instruments? Sure. So basically, I have 3 similar tunings. So this is a drop C sharp. This is a drop C sharp. I have 2 in drop C sharp and 1 in half step. The only difference between these 2 and this is that the E string here, which is a little different than normal, the E string here is in D. It's half step. So those are in drop, and these are in half. So these 3 are basically tuned exactly the same, except for this string. So I have redundancy between these 3. Huh. So if one goes down here, I can just go take this one. So there's my redundancy between these bits. These are also strung redneck, what we call a redneck 4-string. It's strung like a 5-string, but it only has 4 strings. So this is a low B, E, A, D. So you lose the G string. Yeah. These 4 are this is in drop B, and then these are drop C. So these are my 2 redundant for B, these are my 2 redundant for C, and each one is on its own. So I have 4 wireless channels here. So 2, 3, and 4. So they're never on the same channel together. So if I have a wireless problem on channel 3, I give them the black one on channel 2. If I have a wireless problem on channel 4, I give them the one on channel 3. So there's never a situation, and if I have a problem with it, whatever, just let it go. Here you go. It's just this and that. These 2, this is 3, channel 1, channel 1, channel 2. So all of them are spread. I don't have really a whole lot of stack. Here you can see them. So there's, 2 bases there, 2 bases here, 2 bases here, and 1 there. I'm not really stacking the frequencies on the channels so that I'm not getting overread.
Yeah.
There's no chance for me to go, boom, oh, that's on. No, and when I cross in the tunings, then I never have the opportunity to turn on the same channel at the same time. I'm always holding a bass that's on a different channel. There's never a situation where, like, the next song, he's on the same channel. The next song comes, and I say he's going to 2. I turn the pack on, and the pack will come up, and I go right to 2. Now I've got the live bass, and he's got the dead one. So it doesn't matter if he, doesn't turn it down or, fumbles around with the strings or whatever. There's no noise going out. I have the live bass.
That's cool.
So,
make some models of these.
Okay. They're just the Spectre Euro NS.
Okay.
All of them are exactly the same. The only difference between the factory model and what these are is in the internal bits. The preamp in the originals were called a tone pump. What we use now is a dark glass preamp, which is a new preamp that Spectre has now decided to use. They're roughly the same. I think the tone pumps had a little bit more power, but moving forward, you want things that are, number 1, redundant through all of them, and number 2, you want parts you can get. You want to be able to call a company and go, hey, I got broken things. I need you to send me these, this, and this. You don't want them to go, well, we discontinued that, so we don't have those anymore.
Smart.
So we went. They're moving to that dark glass preamp setup. So I'm transformed all of these basses into making sure that we're ahead of the game.
Which one's your favorite one?
I have 2. I love the blue one and this white one here.
Ooh.
It's just the tone, and has nothing to do with the way they look. If I were to pick the one that I think looks the best, I like the red one.
Are we able to see it?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, I like that one. That's gorgeous.
I do adore the blue one, though.
Man. Well, thank you so much for showing us this. Thank you so much for sharing
Cheers, of course.
a little bit about your history. If people want to follow you and follow your career, where can they follow you at?
I have just Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
I think Instagram is Barrett's Events.
Okay.
And then I think Barrett Stevens is just my Facebook. It's not, it's pretty basic. I don't really do a whole lot of social media.
Yeah.
But, I mean, occasionally, but yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
Let's do the plug on just the social media again. I focus.
Okay.
If people want to follow you and follow your career, where can they follow you at?
Instagram is Barrett's Events, and Facebook is just Barrett Stevens. I also do spend a good amount of time at the bar when I'm at home, but only because I'm at work. And so in New Hope, Pennsylvania, I'll be at John and Peter's on Friday and Saturday nights.
There you go. Go check them out or come see me at a Disturbed show.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you,
good to see
brother. It's good to see you too, man.
Cheers.